So I saw Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Yeah, it just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? I'm surprised that there were actually people in the theater with me when I saw this movie, since this movie practically had no marketing. Usually 21st Century Fox was in charge of marketing Dragon Ball movies here in the US, but ever since Disney bought them and dissolved their Japanese studio back in September of 2020, this meant that it was up to Crunchyroll to market the movie here in the US. Great job, guys! You didn't do jack shit. It's no surprise this movie did well in Japan, but guys, there's clearly an audience here in America. The last Dragon Ball movie to come out, Broly, went on to not only be the 4th highest grossing anime film in the US, but also the highest grossing anime film of the year. So what gives, Crunchyroll? I know you're a shitty company with awful business practices, but come the fuck on!
While editing this video, I just learned that Dragon Ball Superhero is actually doing better box office wise than Broly did. This is more a testament to the Dragon Ball community than to Crunchyroll's god-awful marketing. Just thought I'd mention that briefly.
So a lot of you might not know this, but I am a huge Dragon Ball fan. I've loved it ever since I was a kid, and I still love it to this day. I have such fond memories staying up past my curfew to see if Goku will actually beat Vegeta. When Goku's Kamehameha clashed with Vegeta's Gallic Gun, and Goku had to use Kaioken times 4 in order to beat him, it was so fucking hype! But what else do you expect from Vegeta? He is the hype! But yeah, Dragon Ball is so fucking cool, dude. With the awesome fighting, and the great characters, and the epic world building, but my god, when this show blows it! Yeah, Dragon Ball is far from perfect, and I don't think anyone is arguing against that. The Majin Buu arc was overall pretty disappointing, the Zamasu arc was so confusing that Kingdom Hearts makes fun of it, and don't even get me started on the ass pool that is Black Frieza. Black! I'm dead serious about that, by the way. Oh, I discovered a planet that exists outside of space and time, monkeys. Technically, I didn't exist in this universe when Gas wished for himself to be the strongest warrior in the universe, so clearly I didn't count. God, what a little bullshit. What was even the point of Granola and Bardock and shit if Frieza's just gonna come in and one-shot everyone? This is actually worse than when Xeno just completely erased future Trunks' timeline. Like, what was even the point of it all? But I digress. When Dragon Ball gets it right though, they get it right. The original Dragon Ball is an underrated gem, most of Z is really good, especially the Cell arc, and I am, of humble opinion, a believer that Super was good, actually. Overall, but it did have some issues, for sure. The first 28 episodes are completely useless recaps of Battle of the Gods and Resurrection F. You know, in case you don't want to watch the movies and save time. Episode 5 is infamous for its terrible animation, and like I said earlier, the Zamasu arc was so bad that even the official Dragon Ball website couldn't help people with that weird chart. But at least the filler episodes were a lot of fun. Seriously, that baseball episode had no right to be that good. The Universal Tournament was a lot of fun, and the Tournament of Power, some of the best Dragon Ball content we've had in a long time. But I'm getting off topic. Like I said before, I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball, and this is a movie made specifically for fans of the franchise. So, if you don't know anything about Dragon Ball, you never watched the show or anything, chances are this video isn't gonna be for you. I'm honestly half expecting this video to fail, so yeah, support me on Patreon, huh? Had to slip it in there somewhere. So despite its awful marketing, I was still pretty hyped for this movie. With the new anime coming out next year, what better way to prepare for it than by watching a new Dragon Ball movie? And one focused on Piccolo and Gohan of all people? Hell yeah, I'm fucking sold! So I bought my ticket, went to my almost empty theater, and it was exactly what I expected it to be. It's a Dragon Ball movie, nothing more, and nothing less. So normally I would have a spoiler section for something like this, but chances are you've already been spoiled by this movie's god-awful marketing which showed Piccolo and Gohan's new forms. But just in case though, spoiler warning for this whole video. Anyway, let's start with the positives. The animation is actually really good. I'll admit I was a bit worried about this movie being mainly 3D animated, not because I didn't think it couldn't pull off the signature Toriyama look, but simply because the last 3 Dragon Ball movies had sequences in 3D that just felt really jarring, you know? They always felt more stiff than the rest of the movie, and when they came up, it always took me out of the experience. Admittedly, Broly was the best of those 3 since it had a new director who could better utilize the sweeping camera angles and the cinematic feel that it was going for. I don't know, maybe it's because since the entire movie is in 3D, I got used to the CGI really quickly and knew what to expect from it. The fight scenes are still a lot of fun, as expected from a Dragon Ball movie. They're still crazy fast and they have a lot of energy. The final battle with Cell Max was especially a lot of fun, with Piccolo growing big again and his transformation into his new orange form to fight Gamma 2. Oh, the fact that he just fucking one-shots him with one punch, oh my god, it was so fucking sick! If you love Piccolo, this movie is gonna be for you. Speaking of which, I love how this movie isn't all about Goku and Vegeta this time. After Broly being all about them, it makes perfect sense to shift the focus away from them this time. Not to mention, when was the last time Piccolo had any significant character moments in Dragon Ball? Cause, let me tell you, it's been a long ass time. The last real big moment I can think of with Piccolo doing anything substantial was probably his fight with 17 in the Cell Saga. Ever since though, like the rest of the Z Fighters, he's just been pretty much sidelined by the Saiyans, sadly enough. Sure, he fought some of Frieza's men in Resurrection F, and sure, he was in the Tournament of Power, but yeah, that's not saying a lot. No pun intended. So to see Piccolo actually take the front stage in his own movie is so damn cool. If you've seen this movie by now, then let's not kid ourselves here. This is definitely more a Piccolo movie than a Gohan movie. As a matter of fact, I feel like with some slight retooling of the story, it's likely you could have written Gohan out of the story entirely and not a whole lot would have changed. But I'll talk more about that later. Gamma 1 and 2 are really cool too. I especially love 2, who was just a really fun character. He had a great personality, was really funny in a lot of scenes, and actually got me really emotional with his big sacrifice in the end. Gee, if only there were magical artifacts that could bring this great character back to life. If only such a thing existed in Dragon Ball. I actually really liked Pan in this movie. I was terrified I was gonna hate her because I can't stand her in GT. Like, no, seriously, fuck GT Pan. She's awful. But I really like how she was written in this movie. Instead of her being kidnapped, she's actually part of a plan to fake it, and she not only goes along with it because it's fun for her, but she's also really good at it. There's never a moment when she blows her cover and ruins the plan because she's a stupid kid. No, she's actually really good. I love that. It's really refreshing. The villains are a lot of fun in this movie as well. They really gave off that classic Dragon Ball vibe, especially Magenta, voiced perfectly by Charles Martinet. Yep, that Charles Martinet. He literally just does his Wario voice, but it fits so damn well. I mean, look at this fool! Don't tell me there's better casting out there! Okay, good point, but to be fair, Funimation doesn't have that much money. Let's be real here, okay? The short time we spend with Goku and Vegeta is pretty fun too. Broly's back, but it doesn't really do anything, sadly.
Not as cool, but okay.
Beerus develops a crush on Chilai, which instantly makes him the most relatable character in the movie. So with all the great character service to Piccolo, new characters to love, and sick new animation style, this just has to be one of the best Dragon Ball movies ever, right? Well...
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, sorry, but this movie has its issues too. My biggest complaint is easily with Gohan. I just don't get why they rescinded his development. Again. Remember during the Tournament of Power arc, Piccolo and Gohan made a big deal about him restarting his training and accomplishing new forms? Remember Gohan taking that shit really seriously? Well, apparently Toriyama didn't, which shouldn't be a surprise at this point, but come on! Instead, Gohan's back to his fucking desk job, and apparently he's become so weak, not only can he not recognize people by their power levels, but he can't even carry the shoulder pads. What the fuck? Not saying he can't ever work, I get it, he's got a family to take care of, but he hasn't been training at all? What was even the point of all this then? Gohan literally says in this movie, if a threat ever comes to Earth, it's okay because Goku and Vegeta can handle it. Ugh, it's pre-Resurrection F Gohan all over again. Why would you do this? I bring this up because by the end of the movie, Gohan unleashes a new form called Beast Gohan, or Gohan Beast, I've heard people call it both, but it just feels like a huge ass pull. If Gohan had been training on the side like he said he wanted to in the Tournament of Power arc, then I can buy this transformation. But again, he struggled lifting the shoulder pads, people. Sorry, this is kind of bullshit. Yeah, I know it was triggered with rage and stuff, but frankly, everything about Gohan in this movie feels so rehashy. They even had the red line shoot through Gohan's head to signify that he's snapping again. Not a bad callback, admittedly, but it still just feels so shoehorned in. It's almost like Toriyama and Toei didn't believe that Piccolo could hold a movie all on his own, so they had to force Gohan into the story somehow. Piccolo's a great character. I think he can hold his own movie fair enough. If you want Gohan to be in the story, put him in the story. Don't just have him be gone for almost the entirety of the first half and then just haphazardly throw him into the mix in the second and then just give him a new form out of nowhere. It's just really lazy writing. which sadly is becoming a bit of a trend in Dragon Ball as of late. It's actually pretty worrisome, not gonna lie. As for the main story, it's honestly pretty predictable in a lot of places. I knew right from the beginning that Gamma 1 and 2 and Dr. Hito were gonna be good guys and the Red Ribbon Army was lying to them and stuff. Their realization that they've been lied to, I think, came way too abruptly. There really should have been a moment where they talked to each other or Dr. Hito about the situation, or maybe there was a moment where Dr. Hito was in trouble and either Piccolo and Gohan could have saved him, proving that they are actually the good guys. Just something that makes their realization feel a little less forced than just a stern talking to. Also call this a nitpick if you want, but Cell Max, awesome final boss, but why did you guys go with his second form? Why didn't you use his perfect form? It's literally perfect! I just think that would have been a little cooler. Again, no pun intended. But even with that said, Cell Max was still fucking awesome, and Gohan using the special beam cannon to kill Cell Max in the end, that was the chef's kiss. Such a nice touch. I love that. I do hate, however, how Bulma brings Earth's strongest fighters to the final battle, and yet there's no Ten Shinhan? Come on! He was in the Tournament of Power! Give him a little love, he deserves it! Goten and Trunks are no longer little kids. Yay! They also do jack shit in this movie, and I wonder why on earth they're even here. 18, I feel, is the biggest missed opportunity. She really should have started freaking the fuck out when she saw Cell Max. After what the original Cell did to her, it would have made perfect sense. And Krillin? Actually gets a pass because he actually does shit. Bulma, you owe him an apology. So overall, Superhero is a Dragon Ball movie. Nothing more and nothing less. As a Dragon Ball fan, there were things that I loved and things that I didn't love. But I had a good time nonetheless. Despite the weaknesses, I still think this was an overall good Dragon Ball movie. Not as good as Broly, but definitely better than Resurrection F. I don't know, maybe I'm just biased when it comes to Dragon Ball because I do low-key love everything about it, but I can at least acknowledge when something could have been much better. But I digress. I'll probably go see it one more time in theaters, if only to hear the sub version. Yeah, apparently this is the first time a Dragon Ball movie was released with both the sub and dub in theaters. Usually it's just the dub and that's it. If you wanted to hear the sub, you'd have to wait until it releases digitally, but not this time. That's pretty cool. I just wish a certain company brought that up in the marketing. Maybe then more people would go to see it in theaters. So, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Piccolo. This is definitely his movie, and everything about him was awesome. Plus, he turns orange! I don't know if you guys know this about me, but orange is my favorite color.
No.
It was actually really cool to see Piccolo and Gohan get some love, although one definitely got more love than the other. Can't wait for them to not do shit in the anime when it comes out next year. Yeah, just you watch. It's gonna be all about Goku and Vegeta again, and Piccolo and Gohan and all of them aren't gonna mean shit anymore. God damn you, Toriyama. Only you can twist my heart the way you do. God damn you. I love you though.